false ending.
I was on vacation last week, so I'm still kind of in like that foggy haze.
It's a beginning. I
I'm
always
beginning.
feel like there's a beginning.
My vacation is ended and work has begun.
Welcome to The Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. I'm Steve.
And I'm not Steve.
And we're talking about some endings today.
Endings, yeah.
Yes.
Why are we talking about endings?
Because, one, David's sermon was all about endings. But the reason David's sermon was all about endings is because it's kind of an end of an era for The Gathering.
It is,
And when there's an ending, that means something new is to come. So
right.
The end of an era is there was a long time where The Gathering met at the rec center called Rec West.
Yep.
And there was an end of an era there where they finally got to move out and into a new building. Because I had actually had a student who came up to me who went to the church. Like they were literally the first Sunday they attended The Gathering was their first Sunday ever at church because they were newborn. Wow. So The Gathering is as old as Will Harriman.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So Will came up to me.
And he's like a sophomore in college?
He's a sophomore in college. So he is literally as old as The Gathering.
That's amazing.
His first Sunday at church was the first Sunday. Yeah. So I was talking to him and he was just talking about how crazy it was because he's, grew up in the Rec West. And then like his first probably real church experience that he can remember was when we moved into the new building because he's like, were you here for the new building? I'm like, no, I started like about 2 years or year to 2 years after the building was there. So he kind of has experienced it all.
That's pretty wild.
So he's like, to him, it is such a weird experience to be moving out and building on because all he knows is the building that we have. So what I also find interesting is how depending on when you started The Gathering, because there's more people who don't have that experience than do have that experience. Right. So for them who maybe have come here in the past 2 to 5 years, this is a totally different experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that with something else recently, but it's, we're like, how many people are going to remember this?
Yeah.
And it kind of dawned on me is that the church has more than doubled since I've started being at The Gathering. And that means most people don't remember and that reference and so I think that's probably really funny is considering the fact that the reason we're, building and have grown so much is a lot of people have started coming into the church in really the last 2 to 5 years, like you said. Anything before that, they have no idea about it. It's new to them.
It's new to them. And that's cool because to them, it's a different experience. And we have a lot of people who their experience with The Gathering is completely different, but we're all headed on this journey together. Yeah. And we're all in the process of ending an era and starting something new.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. And in David's sermon, he talked about David and his story with Jonathan and David and Goliath and getting picked as the next king and his time, in the, kind of wandering as the beginning and end. But he also referenced Ruth and Boaz, how, Ruth had an ending and then a new beginning, and then how that picture of that represents Jesus in our lives and how sometimes there's good endings and there's bad endings, right? And how Jesus helps us, start new beginning. Like we leave our old life behind and we start a new life in Jesus. So I think when we kind of look at this story of, where we've gone as a gathering, like we are leaving something behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. We're going to be taking on a new identity with a bigger worship center and the way that the youth and the kids have grown. And now that there's going to be a new way of doing a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, one of the things I was thinking about yesterday was often those new things that come at the cost of an ending, right?
Yes.
But sometimes those endings are painful. Even good endings can be painful and hard, So we yesterday spent, as soon as church ended, we had to clear everything out of the worship center. And we'd already been working on it, but, there was about, I think 6 to 10 of us in there at one point.
Yeah.
Just pulling out cables and things that have been in the ceiling for a while. And it was, in a sense, you could say it was painful, right? There was a lot of effort and sweat put into getting stuff out of that. But it's worth it for the new that's coming. Mm-hmm. And sometimes in the moment, it doesn't feel that. You're like, why are we even doing this? Why do I have to take this apart? When I put it in, I thought it was going to be here forever. And, but that's such a short-sighted thing of a view of how it works, is that, but in 6 weeks, we're going to be so glad that we moved out, because we're going to move back in. Yeah. And I think that's how a lot of endings in life work, is you're like, man, this is painful. I don't like the ending of this one thing hurt and it wasn't good. But that's short-sighted, not realizing that God has better down the road. Right.
Mm-hmm. So I have kind of a fun question. Well, what should we do? Should we do our taste test first?
Let's keep talking about endings.
Okay, so let's talk. Maybe we can do that a different day if we don't have time for it. But so
I see what you have brought for food.
Okay,
and I'm a little dreading it.
So my question here, fun question, is what is the all-time best TV ending?
Best TV ending.
So I just kind of looked it up. I did a chat GPT to see what they say. Oh, MASH?
MASH is going to be on the list. I actually believe until recent years.
You're right, but that's actually not on my list. This says critically acclaimed. So I don't know if it was a fan favorite, the MASH one.
So I don't know if it it depends on how you're asking. What was like the best ending, or just like
it's opinion based.
Yeah. So the reason MASH has to be on the list is MASH, I think until very recent years, the finale of MASH was the highest viewed like episode in TV history. I
never watched MASH. I don't know much about it.
I don't think you could make MASH today.
Yeah. How did you watch MASH? Was it just like on reruns?
I watched it on Netflix.
Okay. You watched it on Netflix?
I love old TV shows. So one of my favorite shows is Frasier.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that one. I like things that have been, because you can watch the whole series. Yeah. And you don't have to wait. Yeah. And then you can also tell if it's a good series, if it has like, I think if anything above 5 seasons is probably a pretty good TV show.
Right.
So you don't waste your time on shows that get canceled while you're watching them.
So what do you think the number one is?
Is this like, who made this list? ChatGPT?
ChatGPT. It says critically acclaimed. All-time best TV endings.
Best endings.
Let's see if it says it.
Breaking Bad might be on that list.
It's the number one.
Is it really?
You're right. Yeah. I thought you might be able to get that. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
I did watch Breaking Bad. It's
not the great. I'm not going to recommend. I'm not going to recommend it. But
right? Like it's not everything in it is painful and sad.
Yeah.
One of the things with a lot of TV shows that I like are like those redeeming qualities. Yeah. And you watch characters grow and change. There's none of that in Breaking Bad. Right. Everything just gets worse.
Well, I think one of the reasons that people like the ending so much is it because the ending was kind of it tied everything together. Yeah. And it kind of matched the tone of the rest of the show, right, which generally doesn't happen. They try to go like too like emotional, like nostalgic, look back, or
they try to wrap it up in a clean way. So it's kind of like didn't.
Right, kind of like the Seinfeld one that people didn't like so much. They just kind of try to do a recap and tie things together.
I said Seinfeld's ending might be on that list because
people hated it though.
People hated it because it was exactly what the show was supposed to be, which was to make you feel this like cringy, unsatisfied. I cannot believe that just happened. Yeah. And that like encapsulates the whole vibe of Seinfeld, which is just selfish people doing selfish things that you've thought about doing, but you would never do yourself. Right. Yeah. That's, I think probably another one. Well, see, I could probably make a list of unsatisfactory. It was like How I Met Your Mother is probably on the list of things people hated. Right. They finally figure out who the mother is, after how many years that show was on. Man, I'm trying to think of endings.
So this says 6 Feet Under. I've never watched that. The Leftovers, The Americans, Better Call Saul, Parks and Rec, The Good Place, Friday Night Lights.
Okay, so I'll give Friday Night Lights and Parks and Rec. I've watched both those.
Also Sopranos and Lost, which I thought I did watch.
I did not like how Lost ended.
I didn't like how Lost ended either.
So
it was. it was because I would that like black cloud that kind of followed them. I would have liked to see them make sense of that.
So
it ended up making no sense at all.
Here's what I think happened with Lost. Is the whole intrigue of the show is that nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's great for 1 or 2 seasons. But then they started having to explain what was going on to keep the show going.
Yeah.
And then it just got weird.
Yes, because how does all the science experiment stuff, like, how does that tie into them all being dead? I don't know. All of a sudden
they're in purgatory. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that one was confusing.
Yeah, I was not satisfied with that one. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a lot of show endings. Parks and Rec. So here's a good show endings make you sad that the show's over.
Yeah.
So that's like Friday Night Lights and Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Was sad. The Office, I think, had a pretty good, like, that actually was a pretty satisfactory ending when Steve Carell came back and Dwight got married. Yeah, that's a good happy ending. But it was like overshadowed by the last like 2-3 seasons just being So I don't know. I think that's probably the hardest thing to do no one's gonna be happy with an ending of something they love.
What's your favorite like biblical story ending?
Well, that's easy.
Okay, well, I mean, you can't use Jesus on that one.
Okay.
But I'll give you mine while I think of it.
Yeah.
So I like the story of Peter. Because he denies Jesus 3 times, and then he meets Jesus on the beach, kind of thing, and and like then you see his story kind of transform into like so what Jesus saw in him when he was a disciple, and then what he ended up becoming, like that was fulfilled.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the good ones, just because I think it's very relatable how like sometimes we think we maybe like can overestimate what we think we can accomplish, and then learning from failure is, because I don't know if there's anybody who flopped more than him, because he's like, there's no way I would die before I denied you. And then what does he do?
Peter definitely would talk.
Yeah.
And then have to like,
and everybody has that friend, who says stuff like that, and you're like, no, you're gonna.
I am that friend.
Yeah.
This is a hard one. So there's so many good stories. And one of the common things like throughout the Bible that as you study, you'll see is God takes somebody and uses them for the complete opposite thing of what you would think.
Well, like
if we were writing.
David talked about David on Sunday.
He takes a child and slays a giant.
Yes.
Right. With a stone,
right? With the as David said, the runt of the family, who wasn't even in the selection list when who went to visit him, the prophet who anointed the next
Samuel.
Thanks, Samuel. When Samuel came to anoint the next king, he wasn't even in the lineup.
So I like I keep thinking sort of like Gideon keeps popping in my mind.
Yeah,
like I love how that story starts with Gideon testing God, like by putting out, I think it was a lambskin. And he's like, if it's wet on this side and dry on this side, I'll trust you. And he does it like 2 times. So he's starting this place of just like testing God, which means I don't trust God. If I'm testing God, I don't trust God.
Yeah.
And it ends with him trusting God and diminishing his forces down to 300 men.
Yeah.
And then they go and kill a bunch of Philistines. Like that's just a great, I love how that story starts to how it ends. Gideon's transformation in that. I think of, oh goodness. I mean, Ruth is up there. I know David was hating on Esther the other day, but I love the story of Esther where, how that story, everything was set to destroy God's people.
Yeah.
And because of, Mordecai and Esther,
it's a complex
and
story.
Courage. It's so complex, but ends up God's people being saved in the end of that story, and what was meant to destroy them actually ends up gaining them favor and courage, and kind of like fortifies them a little bit. And I think that's a really cool story there. And how like roles are reversed.
Of the people who are in control in the beginning are the people who get it in the end.
Oh yeah,
it's
I love Haman's ending.
Yeah,
like that's
isn't that? Part. I mean, like secretly, when we think about wanting revenge, I know revenge is not a path to peace. It is the opposite of that. But in that story of Esther,
there's this justice.
There's a sense of clear justice.
Yeah,
and that's what we always think we want, but it's not what's always right. But you know, he kind of had what he was.
He got what was coming.
He got what it was coming to him. He did.
Yeah, I think there's like my favorite endings in the Bible are like guys like Nebuchadnezzar and stuff like that, where you're like, they're just these wild kings and people, and some of the Nebuchadnezzar turns into a raving beast first, and that's wild. That's just wild stuff. So I don't know. Overall, my favorite ending is the one that's yet to come, and when we'll be reunited with Christ. And said reunited. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Reunited. Okay, so speaking of endings, and when something comes to an end, is not always a clear sign of what's next.
Yeah.
As David said on Sunday, sometimes there's good endings. Sometimes there's endings where we're waiting for God to show us what's next. And then sometimes there's just bad endings.
Yeah.
I think for where we are in our time at the gathering, we're kind of in that in-between time where we have no home.
Right.
We're kind of wandering for a little bit. So you want to talk about why we're wanting. So let's start by just talking about where we are right now with the construction process and kind of what's to come with that. Like, what are we going to get? And then let's talk about our summer schedule.
Yeah. So where we are right now is in the office, which is a temporary office.
I've had a lot of people ask me, where's the podcast right now?
So this is our offsite office that we're renting for, the next several months while we do the construction, because they've already basically demoed the old office at the Yankee building.
Yes.
And Sunday, we had Move Out Sunday, which basically was our last Sunday in the worship center, because I believe as of now, they've already begun. Yeah,
I drove by there this morning, and there was, 3 times as many vehicles as they are normally.
They're demoing out the worship center.
And they're working on the new construction. So there was a lot of trucks over at the new construction too.
There's this weird timing thing where we have to get kind of the before they knock out some walls for the new worship, or for the worship center expanding, we have to have the new walls kind of ready to go up, so that way those new external walls will exist. So it's they're working on all that, but that's where we are today. Is I think today things are in full speed ahead mode. They are not just working around us, but we're out of the way and they're able to work fully.
So the big thing that's coming is the worship center expansion.
That's the next big thing.
That's the next big thing. That's why we had to move out, because we're getting a brand new stage. New tech.
The room's changed.
New flooring,
shapes and sizes, and so we're getting new flooring. It's getting new paint. It's bigger. The stage is roughly the same size, but it's we're having to change some of the shape of it. And then with that, we're having to do new audio, new projectors, just so everybody can hear and see from the new,
because it's going to be wide, much wider now.
A lot wider. We're going from a room that right now we have crammed in 400 chairs. To, we're hoping 600-700 chairs in the new space, and so significantly larger. And just it's wider, so we have to do things a little different than we have been doing. And so I'm excited for it. I think we're gonna come back. It's gonna look great. It's gonna sound great. Everything is going to just be. I think things are getting better, not just bigger, and so I'm excited about that. But it takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work.
We needed to get out of the way so they could get the all the demo done, which is not safe for us to be around that. And
then we won't actually see our new space that's going to be built until November, maybe at the earliest.
So the longer out, the more chance there is of timelines changing. So we've been shooting for November. Just with the understanding that there are elements that are outside of our control timeline. But we're pretty confident November we'll have that the new wing, the new youth room and office,
Yes.
and we're getting new bathrooms, so doubling the amount of toilets almost in the building.
That is exciting.
I'm very excited about that.
More toilet options.
Yeah.
No. The thing I'm most excited about, it's something I've wanted to get rid of for years and years, is that red stripe.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
The red, I cannot wait to see that gone.
Do you remember, it was like 3 years ago, we talked about just trying to like stain it.
Yeah.
It was just so red.
Yeah.
So red.
It's going to look amazing. And I think there's going to be some people who probably don't even notice.
So I was actually thinking about this I'm one of those people, I think you're probably like this too. Like my environment has some effect on how I feel.
Yeah.
And so that shade of red more than any other color, like makes me feel agitated.
Yeah.
And so I always notice it when we're in the lobby, but so many people don't notice that stuff. And I was thinking about it. Most people, when they experience the lobby, it is when the lobby is crowded.
Yes.
You and I are here during the week and there's nobody. And so of course we see the red.
Yeah.
But the lobby has been so full.
Yeah.
I don't know that people can actually see it.
They don't, because I always ask people, and when I kind of get to know some people, I'd ask them about like specific things, and I would ask about the carpet and stuff, and they didn't really care.
Yeah.
Like I think most people eyes are up and looking around when they come in when they're new.
Yeah, I mean it's weird if you're talking to somebody to be like,
what? Yeah. But I think it'll, for the people who, are regulars or come throughout the week, they'll be the most excited about it.
And I'm really excited about some of the things. We're getting some new materials that should help make it easier for us to do ministry moving forward. Everything. I mean, last time I was looking at carpet, some of the stuff we got to look at didn't exist. And it's I'm excited for it. It's going to look better and just in general be better for some of the stuff we want to do. But yeah, so hopefully November we get into the new youth space. We're doubling our kids space.
Yeah.
But
so
today's
let's talk about that.
Launch.
So doubling the kids space. So they're going to get the
current youth
space is going to be kids space and much needed.
Yes.
So they'll have.
So we can get ready for have like 400 kids on a Sunday.
400 kids. Yep.
That'd be insane.
So we talked about Move Out Sunday. Then June 15th is going to be our community service day. So this is
this upcoming Sunday.
Right, this upcoming Sunday. So this is kind of when we're wandering.
Yes.
The 15th is our first Sunday not in. So do not come to the gathering until June 27th. Or July 27th.
Yeah.
Is the next Sunday we'll be back. But the 15th of June. Yes. This coming Sunday is
Father's Day. We're going to be out doing our community service Sunday, which you can find information about that on Church Center. But basically, we have 2 sites that we're going to be partnering with and going to serve. We're going to be helping Family Promise down in Lebanon, who's been a kind of a long-term partner we've had. It's a really great organization and stuff, and doing some gardening.
Yeah.
I think there might be an
let's say landscaping.
Landscaping, that might be a better word.
Yeah.
Landscaping. Good outdoors work, but there's projects that pretty much anybody can help with.
Right.
There from
even
little
kids.
Little kids. If you're willing to help, we'll find something for you to do there.
Yeah, kids are going to be doing like an art project.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we're doing is it is Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which is a really just unique and specialized ministry that so what they do is basically they build beds for kids who don't have beds in the area.
Right.
And, believing no kid should be sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be helping with bed delivery, I think, which will be a really awesome thing for the people getting to do that.
Is there bed assembly involved in that? Or do we just drop the beds off and they just get a bunch of boards?
They assemble.
We are assembling.
Assemble.
So not just delivery.
Now,
you're delivering and assembling.
And I'll ask because I now know that Annie's over there. It's 7 and up or 8 and up?
8 and up.
At your discretion. So there's just some physical labor, and you should be aware of that.
But not that bad because it's just maybe carrying some boards in. So if you like assembling stuff, or you just want to come there to help, there's going to be plenty of people who would.
Is there a deadline by when they need to sign up?
As soon as possible.
You need to sign up as soon as possible.
So if you're listening to this, pause the podcast.
Pause right now. Click the link. We'll put the link in the description.
There you go.
Sign up, all right?
Okay, so that is going to be a really awesome thing to be out in the community, something that a lot of churches do. It's the first time that we've actually
we
said we're not going to meet to do it. But
we
a lot of churches
do a lot of like service days.
Yes.
But we've never done it instead of our corporate worship.
And I think, it's kind of serves two purposes right now, but I think it also makes a big statement of like, we value our community.
Absolutely.
We value helping people. And it's actually what we're called to do.
Yeah, we're so the cool thing about this is this was on the plans for this year
anyway,
outside of the building schedule.
Yes, and it just so happened it worked
it's
out. It's
not that we're doing this because we can't have church somewhere else. We have you're going to see we have options, right? But because we were planning on doing this and it just so happened to correlate with the building schedule.
And then we like to make everything more complicated.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, this is a really big thing, really important thing. I'm excited. I'm going to be traveling back and forth, getting some footage and stuff. Yeah. So
just photos,
footage,
video?
all that media stuff. So
nice. So
I'm going to get to see everything.
Yeah.
And hopefully
I'm a little bit jealous of that.
You want to come with me? We do like a road trip.
Well, I can't. I probably shouldn't leave my family behind.
We'll be fine. Just drop them off. Family promise. Annie can watch them.
Yeah.
She didn't hear me say that.
So then we're gonna mostly be at Centerville. We'll talk about the other thing we're doing, but so the following Sunday, the 15th, we're at Serving the Community. The 22nd, we're at Centerville, which I went over there and toured it with the people there.
Yeah.
Like if you went to Chili Bowl, it's gonna be a similar kind of setup, but we're not going to be in the gym at all. We're going to be in the theater, which you may think of the auditorium.
Which is where we were for this year.
Where we were for worship. So we will be entering in through the theater this time because we're going to only be in the theater. So if you have mobility issues, it's going to be pretty easy and straightforward. You're going to enter all one level. It's pretty easy.
And we're doing some awesome kid stuff.
Yes. And that's the best part.
I'm not going to steal any other thunder because that communication's coming out soon.
Well, we should steal a little bit of thunder.
Here's what I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Every single Sunday.
Yes.
And when I say amazing, I'm not talking just like, we got a little special craft or something like that. Yeah. Like
we're bringing in big things.
Your kids are actually going to be bummed when we're coming back to like the regular church. Like
it's going
to be so much fun on Sundays. I've heard a little bit of what's being planned, and I'm going to use the word booked so that you guys know like this is it's awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So
we can't say one thing. You're not allowed.
I believe it's pretty secretive.
Okay, because I've been telling everybody about it. I've been telling, especially new people. I'm like, you're not gonna. I'm just going to tell you, you're not.
Tell you what, we'll get some clarification this week if we're allowed to talk about it, and then maybe next week we'll all
right.
We'll drop the deets.
I've been literally like everyone with kids. I've been like,
he's got a megahorn.
Guys,
everybody.
Yeah, I've been telling everybody because I'm so excited for it. Yeah. Like. My daughter just went into 6th grade, so I'm bummed that she's not going to get to do some of the stuff that they're having. But I'm like, well, you can go back there and help with like the little kids and, to take part in it.
So I just want to clarify. So starting with the exception of one Sunday, and we're about to explain this, but starting on June 22nd until we return to the Yankee building, we're going to be at Centerville High School for one service at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
It's a
one service.
We're going to have kids programming. And so, still come prepared for that. I would say come early, like you would for church here, but
not like you would for church here because nobody comes early.
So
how about this is a new beginning.
Yes,
come to church actually 5 minutes early.
Even earlier, I would say because we're still gonna have time to hang out and talk to people, and
there's a lobby. So that's a good positive. Like honestly, Centerville High School is gonna be in a lot of ways better experience.
I say there's some things that might feel a little bit better.
They're gonna be like the lobby's gonna be a little bit better-ish. The
seats are going to be nice. Yeah.
Better. I will give a bad ending. Is there's going to be no coffee and donuts. Like that's a big, they actually said.
We probably shouldn't have told them that part.
I know. I probably shouldn't have. But I also am big on like expectations. Yeah. I'd rather you feel a little bit down now than show up and have a bad experience.
That's the only down thing is that we're not allowed to have food or drink.
So drink your coffee before you come in.
But hey, we know that you guys love the Lord so much that you're going to be able to worship despite the fact you're not having coffee and donuts, all right?
Yes.
And just eat them in the car on your way.
Eat them in the car on the way.
That's fine. Bills is pretty close.
Right.
So with the exception of one Sunday, Sundays will be.
Can I say one more thing about while we're talking about this, the Centerville stuff? Is that the kids area is also amazing. We went and saw the band room. The band room is huge.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
The band room is huge. We also have the dance studio, which is really cool also. So we're going to have 2 great rooms for the kids ministry.
There has been no, there's no shortage of space for kids. There's been no shortage of planning and effort and even financial investment that we're making and to make sure that the next 6 weeks your kids have great
And the youth ministries, did I hear Andrew say they're doing Thursday night stuff? Is that right?
I don't know.
Well, listen, Andrew, are you doing Thursday night youth group stuff when we're out of the building? Is that true? High school in July is Sunday night. Bible studies. Bible study in the barn. Okay, Wednesday night. So Sunday night, they're going to have Bible studies in the barn. Only in July. 4 Sundays in July. So there's stuff for high schoolers still. Otherwise, on Sunday morning, you're going to be in big church with everybody else, which is a good thing. We love when families get to worship together. Yeah. Which, honestly, is what we say you should do every week.
Yes.
But
all right. So one service, 11 a.m., Centerville High School, kids programming.
Yep.
Middle schoolers get to participate in the kids programming, is what Andrew just said. So I'm excited for that. And then
middle schoolers get to participate.
Yes. So it's going to be cool.
So you guys, I'm not sad about Harper.
Harper's going to get to be part of it.
Go.
So it's going to be awesome. So that's starting on June 22nd until we're back in the building.
Yep.
With this one exception,
which is
the church picnic.
And church picnic is going to be bigger and better than ever this year.
So we're doing church picnic on June 29th.
29th.
June 29th. I was right.
I was right.
June 29th, church picnic. So it's 1 week at Centerville High School, and then we're at Dayton Christian outside for the church picnic.
Which is on the corner of Washington Church
and
Spring Valley.
Yep.
So it's David likes us to say that. I don't know if anyone knows those cross sections, but anyway, it's like 2
Drop
minutes
it in
from
your
church.
Google.
Drop it into Google. That's what
you'll make
does.
it.
It's very, very close to the church. It's
it's 3 minutes from the church.
Very close.
But they are graciously letting us use their outdoor space while our outdoor space is just
indoor.
A bunch of mud.
I mean, we do get to put our food and stuff inside. I'm always big on that because for safety reasons. I don't like leaving food out in the sun.
That potato salad that just sits outside.
I don't want that happening. No, I don't want anyone to leave.
That mayo looks a little,
I wouldn't do that.
Gross after a little bit, but
we
care
about
June
that.
29th. Also, one service at 11 a.m.
Pulled pork, pulled chicken, hot dogs, tons of sides, tons of desserts. It's going to be
great.
Lots of great food.
So
smoked pulled pork, smoked chicken. So it's going to be like top notch everything.
Which we'll be putting out more information about where to park and how to get to there and all that stuff here soon. So be on the lookout for that. As always, if you want to know,
parking's not complicated.
No, they have a big lot.
They have a huge lot.
So with everything we do here, and especially over the next several weeks, just encourage you to stay up to date on Church Center app. All right. If you don't have it,
literally on there right now.
That's where we're reading all this information.
Summer schedule is on there.
There's a tab for the summer schedule. There's also specific event tabs where you can get even more detailed information, sign up for things.
Exactly.
One thing with church picnic is we are doing baptism.
Yeah, and it's one service as well at 11.
Yeah,
so
one service at 11.
You can just count on 11 while we're out of the building.
Yes, just plan for 11 a.m. Baptism, you can sign up for that through the Church Center app as well.
And there's a lot of people who are getting baptized already.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. After church picnic, we're back at Centerville High School for the next 4 weeks or so. I think 3 weeks.
It says
next
3 weeks on here.
I think we have a fifth or extra week in case for some reason
would that be
that's
27th
of July? Yeah,
of July.
So
just in case.
Just with anything with construction, just be prepared for us to communicate changes. Soon. But
where should they look for changes?
Church Center.
Church
Center. Stay up to date with our socials. If you don't get Pastor David's email,
you can sign up.
Sign up on Church Center, or just shoot us a message, and we'll make sure you get on the right the right list for that.
Now that you say that, I think one of the spots that's like very underrated on the Church Center app is support. There is so much on on the support tab where you can get the Renew Journal, you can get Right Now Media.
Yes.
You can sign up for stuff on there. So there's like tons of stuff on. You really
Absolutely.
do. If you don't have the Church Center app, you need to get it.
You need to get it. And if you're having trouble getting it, find me or Steve on a Sunday morning, and we'll help you get it. All right.
Yep.
It's that important. So
speaking of endings, I think it's time to
end this podcast.
Unless there's something else you need to talk about.
I actually I don't have anything else.
Okay. False ending.
I was on vacation last week, so I'm still kind of in like that foggy haze.
It's a beginning. I always feel like there's a beginning.
My vacation is ended and work has begun.
Well, I was gone for quite a while. Yeah. So I feel like I felt like I was a new employee when I came back.
It's like you're like, it's riding a bike, it comes back to you. It's like, right. But it's like really we're the first few pedals,
Yes. Now I feel like I'm telling other people who've been out catching other people up to what's going on. So shall we end our podcast?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, thanks for joining us on the Gathering Greenhouse. Until we meet again, keep it real, keep it rooted, and we'll catch you next time.